All right, moving ahead now. Nvidia, now the second biggest company in the world, valued at $3 trillion, is now trading under $200 for the first time in 3 years. For more on this and what it means, I'm joined by Jess Amir from Moomoo. Wonderful to have you with me. What exactly is going on with Nvidia's stock at the moment? Take us through it all.
Yeah, I guess a lot of investors, if they haven't looked at a chart of Nvidia, they might be asking exactly the same question: what is going on? Because a week ago, Nvidia shares were valued at $1,200 or $1,100, and then overnight yesterday in the US session they closed at $121. So absolutely, as you said, they are trading under $300 for the first time in 3 years, and it's all because their stock split 10 to 1. So if you held last week one Nvidia share, yesterday as at the close you would now have 10 Nvidia shares. So this is something that a lot of, yes, sorry?
I was going to ask, take us through exactly what a stock split is for those unaware.
It's a great question. So it's basically where a stock will be split by 1/10 of a size. Sometimes companies can split a stock 5 to 1, but in this case, Nvidia's CEO wanted to make their shares a little bit more affordable because we know they were over $1,000, so they split their top stock by 1/10. So essentially, if you held one Nvidia share as of yesterday, you'd have 10 shares. Nothing changes whatsoever at the company level. No fundamentals change. It's purely something that a company does to make their shares more accessible to retail investors.
Okay.
And of course, we know this also means that they could potentially be entering the Dow Jones, and the Dow Jones is that pin-up index in the US, you know, the top 30 blue chip stocks.
Absolutely, and their spot would not be surprising to see there. But is there still upside for Nvidia moving forward? What else are you seeing out there?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, a lot of people are asking the same thing, you know, did I miss out on Nvidia shares? Because they're up 730% as at, you know, if we look back at 2023 right to now. So yes, the consensus is, or the thinking on Wall Street is that there is more upside ahead. In fact, 90% of analysts on Wall Street are saying there's more upside for Nvidia. We do know that it just probably needs to overtake, it probably needs to gain about 3% so that it can overtake Microsoft. So it only needs to rise by about 3%. So it's something that we're all watching.
They are neck and neck at the moment, aren't they, Jess? But let's talk a bit about Apple. They just unveiled a whole heap of, well, impressive, lackluster. People are at different opinions, but talk to us a bit about what we're seeing from the team at Apple.
Yeah, I guess some people were impressed, but some not so, because their shares at one point were down by about 2%. So this is something that I guess a lot of analysts on Wall Street have been waiting for. A lot of people in the tech world have been waiting for. So they did unveil that they're going to partner, or they did partner with ChatGPT, or rather OpenAI. So they are going to integrate some ChatGPT functionality into Apple's devices, and this won't really come into effect until later this year. So what does that mean? It means, let's say you get a text message from your partner and she sent you a podcast. You literally have to say, hey Siri, play me that podcast that my girlfriend or my wife or partner sent me a couple of weeks ago, and that podcast will play. It also means you can say, hey Siri, can you take me to the airport on the quickest route, and it will navigate a route for you via their map functionality. So we haven't seen this before, but you do have to wait a little while. Does it mean it's going to drive earnings? Not really sure, but would it potentially encourage you to go out and upgrade your iPhone? Maybe, but the thinking is it's probably not going to really make a big change on Apple's revenue for a couple of years.
Yeah, interesting stuff. And of course, we've seen this sort of thing start to roll out over the years with Siri being integrated, but I'd like to see it be a lot more impressive. So I'm excited to see if and when this comes to light. But Jess, I want to thank you for joining us on the program. And of course, everyone is celebrating the fact that the calculator application has now come to the iPad after all these years. That was the biggest announcement for me.
Yes, very, very true. Absolutely. It didn't get a huge applause, but the applause was pretty loud when they did unveil that feature.
Jess, thanks for joining me on the program. As always, I look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Great. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.